Welcome back to The Race. I'm Chris Stewart here in Denver, Colorado. And in this election year where we have seen candidates of color already breaking records, we wanted to take a look back to the civil rights movement and see what's changed as we get closer to the midterm. Here's Corey Rangel.
Race relations continues to be a divisive issue in the country and has sneaked its way into the midterms.
I'm not calling Mr. DeSantis a racist. I'm simply saying the racists believe he's a racist.
At a speech this week, President Donald Trump stirred up another controversy.
They have a word. It sort of became old-fashioned. It's called a nationalist. And I say, really, we're not supposed to use that word. You know what I am? I'm a nationalist, okay?
The president says he used the word because he's proud of our country, but some say the word is a signal to white nationalists and also point back to the president's comments after the rally in Charlottesville last year.
I think there's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it.
He's allowing white nationalists to feel comforted in those words. So, yeah, it's clear that he's using a divisive rhetoric to rally his base, and that rhetoric is racist.
But for the past year, Candace Owens has defended President Trump.
No matter what he says, they spin it. No matter how he says it, they spin it. We saw that with the Charlottesville thing. What he said was factually accurate, but they spun it to this like he's supporting the KKK.
At the White House, the president just hosted a summit with young black conservatives like Owens.
Just because somebody thinks differently than you does not make them a racist, okay? And when you continually keep calling people racist, what you're actually doing is diminishing the experiences that real people that lived through eras like that actually had.
Until Trump rids himself of the very racist policies, blacks should not find comfort in that administration.
For The Race, I'm Corey Rangel.
Now, the Me Too movement went viral on social media 1 year ago this month as a way for sexual abuse and assault survivors to come together, come forward, and heal. Chris Welch introducing us to a mother-daughter duo who worked together to bring a lesson of consent to public schools.
This kind of started with you, right, Maeve?
I mean, yeah, certainly.
14-year-old Maeve Sanford Kelly is not shy about the bill she recently helped pass on a statewide level.
Because it's something that is horrible that you guys here have the power to prevent.
But what it really started with, she says, was this.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the
So when you first saw the Access Hollywood tape, you were, what, 12 years old?
Yeah.
And that still impacted you?
I mean, certainly. I think I was 12, but I was old enough to watch it and react to it. And so was my little brother, and he was 8 or 9. Like, it's not, you don't have to be that old to understand how wrong it is.
Maeve's mom,
and 12 is the age that we're learning about these things, so.
Is Maryland State Delegate Ariana Kelly. They felt it made no sense that Maeve and her peers weren't taught the issue of consent in public school sex education, so they drafted a bill together.
It was less of fixing and more of being proactive. I don't want the people who are in my generation to act the same as how I've seen people in my mother's generation and my grandmother's generation acting.
And the concept was simple.
Don't do something that involves another party if the other party doesn't also want to do it.
Problem was, their first try at passing a bill ended in failure, but Maeve wasn't giving up.
She texted us back and she said, "Don't you guys worry, we're coming back next year and we'll pass it next year." And she was right.
That next year also brought with it a movement known as Me Too.
And the scales tipped, right? These rhetorical ideas about how terrible sex ed is sort of became less important as the practical implications of let's teach our kids about consent so that they don't accidentally not understand it.
Yeah, because we're BCC on Thursday, because Dwayne wants to come on Thursday.
Oh, Dwayne's gonna come?
Mom admits that she's become more cynical over the years, but seeing her daughter's idealism in the process reignited her own.
And with Maeve's perspective being hopeful and fresh and young, it reminds me that we have to succeed.
Reporting for The Race in Bethesda, Maryland, I'm Chris Welch.
A unique display in Washington, D.C. is representing National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as Nicole Vowell shows us, each creation represents a woman standing tall.
The women's are the spine of society. We have to take care of them.
Behind every stitch,
I mean, they're beautiful. They all looking at you with open eyes.
And each piece of fabric is a real face and a real story.
We hear these stories every day.
Marta Perez Garcia, the activist and creator of this display, hoping people use it to open their eyes to the realities surrounding domestic violence.
So I think because I have so many people around me and I really saw it for so long, I needed to do something about it.
Garcia grew up in Puerto Rico, regularly witnessing women being abused, and says after moving to the mainland, those stories didn't stop.
It's something that is in the media that you see that is very close to home.
1 in 3 women are survivors of domestic violence and/or sexual assault, and that is a lot of people.
Bakht Arif works with abuse survivors for a nonprofit project in D.C. and says this display is one way to grab people's attention, but the conversation should go far beyond this.
Policy is important, legislation is important, and we will be protesting for it, and we will be cheering and supporting anyone who understands the importance and brings light to the issue.
This exhibit at the Franklin Reeves Building in our nation's capital is here throughout the month of October to promote awareness.
And we have to be good listeners to really see what they need.
But Garcia says the real voices for change will come from voters in November.
As society, we have to do something about this issue. So if it's to really take people in powerful places, to really take the right decisions against domestic violence, of course we have to do that.
For The Race, I'm Nicole Vowell reporting.
Next on The Race from Colorado, one bus trip a group of seniors look forward to every month. First stop, the dispensary.